Are you ready for Samhain? I know what you're thinking. There's still time. There's still time. Why are you asking so early? Because there's prep work. Not just for like the parties and stuff, because let's face it, you're probably not going to a party or attend one. But there's also the ritual stuff, the meals, like what are you going to do? It's 3 days. Are you prepared for Samhain? Let's talk about it as we walk together down creation's paths. Hello, everyone. My name is Charlie. I am a Christopagan Druid and Priest of Bridget.
Hello, my name is Brian. I am a Christopagan Druid and sous chef to the Dada.
Today, we're going to talk about prepping for Samhain. We've talked about the history of Samhain. We've talked about some of the things that are leading up to this holiday, some of the things that we need to be thinking about. But today, we're going to be talking about the prep list. Yes, we're going to be doing a checklist, not entirely because your mileage may vary, but some things that you may or may not want to be doing and having ready for this most bizarre and wonderful of seasons.
Just think, if you're sitting all night in the pumpkin patch waiting for the great pumpkin to arise, you need snacks, you need warm clothing,
you need a very special blanket.
You need to make sure you have a buddy system, not just one buddy, you need multiple buddies. Because the first buddy, she's going to get mad at you and storm off when she realizes how crazy it all is. So you need other buddies to come help you and put you back in your bed after you fall asleep in the pumpkin patch.
My magical blanket's named Grizz. Oh. And if you get that reference, let me know in the comments, because, yeah, you my people. Alrighty, before we get into it, don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, whatever the terminology is on whatever app you're listening to us on. We do original Christopagan and Druidic content every Monday through Friday on this podcast. We've got a lot coming up. Believe it or not, this is not the last prep episode before Samhain, because there's a lot that goes into this holiday. We do a lot in the lead up to Bealtaina, and we do a lot in the lead up to Samhain. You don't want to miss anything. It's going to be amazing. Plus some witchy stuff, and I want just a preview of what's to come. We're going to do some ghost stories and haunted house stories in future episodes, and just be there. They'll be fun. All right. Are we ready?
We're ready!
All right, let's go. So there's a lot of things that we could be doing this Samhain. If you're going to a Halloween party or something, of course, you got your costumes and whatnot. But that's not what we're talking about today. And we're going to be talking about for our 3 days of ritual and spell work and all that comes along with that. Have you thought about what's going on your ancestor altar? Have you thought about what's going on your table? Are you going to do any special meals? And now I'm over front loading it, but I want to get your brain cooking, because now is the time to make those to-do lists so you can go to the store, make sure you have the ingredients, and be able to get it going. There are 2 musts for me when it comes to Samhain. 1, I'm going to do some form of scrying. Divination is an absolute must at this time of year. I have a brand new pendulum that a friend gave me that works really, really well with me. We're very good friends. I use it a lot. Probably going to be doing some pendulum scrying. Been thinking a lot about what kinds of scrying boards I want to make for the holiday. What questions I want to do. I'm not a big fan of using a pendulum like a Ouija board. Having an alphabet in a circle really doesn't do much for me. Yes, no is nice, but there are other things that I think might want to go onto that. So I've been trying to think about what that should look like. I tend to make a new board for when I do anything with the pendulum, because it's nice to have one that you just is your all-purpose to go menu one. But with something like Samhain, the house is going to be filled with spirits, because we are going to open our house to the good neighbors that have no ill intent towards us and to our ancestors. So having an easy way to know, are we talking to an ancestor? Are we talking to one of the kindly folk? Are we talking to who? Who's shown up for the party? Who are we talking to? There are different things that should be in those concentric circles. Do you get what I'm saying? Your mileage may vary if you're a pendulum scryer. How do you like to do it? Really start asking yourself. They're really fun and easy to make. Just get yourself a compass, which was one of my favorite things to use when I was in school, and draw circles. Draw a bunch of circles, draw some lines so that you have it split up using that center point as the axis, and just write your stuff on there. Just remember, the same answer needs to be on either side of the line, because pendulums swing both ways. The only tricky bit about making a scrying board for yourself, I keep saying scrying board, mine's going to be on paper. That's fine. Find one you like online, print it out. If I get mine done in time and I really like it, I might share it on my Instagram over at Creations Past. Don't hold your breath about that. I'm a very big judge about my own work, so I probably won't, but I will try to get better about that.
That's one of those things to keep in mind. Like it is very nice if you're so inclined to do a wonderful, artful, really pretty, intense, like beautifully drawn out, scribed out board. But also you can just do something that's just functional.
Yeah.
Crayons on paper. The thing is, keep in mind that this holiday is for us.
Yes.
It's for the practitioner. First and foremost, yes, if you're going to get all out of making something beautiful, please do. Please share it. I love to look at the really pretty ones. And I love the amount of time and energy people have spent on building them.
At the beginning of the month, I was like, okay, so we're going to go to Lowe's. We're going to get ourselves some really nice wood. I'm going to get my wood burning kit out. I want to make this beautiful board. As my energy has waned and other things have been creating chaos in my life, it's like, I am going to use a sheet of paper and a pen and a compass, and who knows what it's going to be as time goes on. Do what works for you. I also want to make a black mirror. I think this is a perfect time of year to do black mirror scrying. You don't have to buy them. They're really easy to make. I'll teach you how in just a second. I know there's some really pretty ones on Etsy, and if you see one that you like, do that. And if you want one of the obsidian ones, those are trickier to make on your own. So yeah, you might want to just buy one of those. But if you want to make yourself a black mirror, find yourself a pretty picture frame. Any picture frame will work. Just a nice, pretty one that you like, that you want to stare at for a while. Take the glass out and paint the back of the glass black. You can do it as thick as you want. I like to leave it a little bit translucent so you can still kind of see through. And then I will wrap the backing of it, the part that holds the glass in, with aluminum foil or tin foil. Shiny side pointing out. And then put that back into the frame. Congratulations. You have a black mirror. You can even go super special and maybe put a sigil in there or something else to empower it. You don't have to go through all of that effort if you don't want to. You just need a dark, reflective surface. It'll work fine. A couple candles, one on either side of you. I love black mirror scrying. I think that this is a wonderful time of year to do black mirror scrying. So I am probably going to be making myself one this year.
If you want a really spooky one, you could put a mirror in the bottom of a bowl filled with water and red food coloring, and then make it as dark as you want, and then voila. Like, it could be that simple.
Water gazing is actually very traditional for this time of year.
Yeah.
A lot of different water divinations are used. That's technically what bobbing for apples was, that they would put like a whole bunch of red apples and one green apple or golden apple in there. Whoever got the golden one out was going to have good fortune, various things like that. Wax scrying is fun this time of year. If you've never done wax scrying, you take a bowl of water and a candle that drips. You got to be careful. A lot of our newer candles are dripless candles because the manufacturers understand that we don't like scrubbing wax out of things. But you need to find an older, generally cheaper candle that will trip. You light it, you state your intention of what you're wanting to divine, and then you drip the wax into the water. Then you watch and see what shape the wax makes in the water, and you try to read those shapes. What do you see in the shape of the wax? Fun thing to do. The actual Salem witch trials started because they were doing egg water scrying, which you take a jar, fill it with water, sometimes with colored water, but it can look really terrifying with colored water. Just be aware of that. And you crack an egg and you let it go into the water, sometimes with oil, but usually just water and egg. And you watch the shapes that the white makes in the water, and you try to read the shapes in there. It's actually what the girls were doing that then claimed to be bewitched, that started the whole Salem witch trial thing. But again, very traditional way of doing scrying this time of year. If you have a favorite, if you like doing tarot cards or what have you, do it. I am not a fan of Ouija boards. I do not think it's a carte blanche like Ouija boards are the devil or anything. I'm not one of those people, but I've had not terrible experiences. Like, I'm not saying like we used a Ouija board and the house was haunted, but we've had some unpleasant things that talked through speaking boards, and that's too much power to give a spirit to talk to you if you're not sure who you're talking to. And pretty much it's like randomly calling a cell phone that you left on the street. I was going to say a payphone, but like, I don't know if the kids even know what a payphone is anymore.
This is why my favorite answer when people start talking about Ouija boards is, yes, it's bad, and no, it's not. Because that's the thing. The board itself, no. It was a game. It was created as a game.
Yeah.
There was nothing inherently in it, different from anything else. Your Monopoly game, your life game, Ouija board, all of them board games. The thing was, though, is the intentions and the subtle energies that it inspired in the practitioners, the users of the board, opened up things because the whole intention is to open up. And unfortunately, it doesn't give guidance or structure. So basically, you're creating a sacred space that is open for anything random to pop in and have fun. So most of the time, people's experiences with Ouija boards is harmless and generally nothing, because most of the time that's about what you're going to get. But the thing is, it's like leaving your door wide open.
Actually, I think a better analogy wide open is you're calling a drunk person at a party and you never know who they're going to hand the phone off to. I don't really believe in possessions or spirit boards. I think that should that happen, it's obscenely rare. I don't think that your house could become haunted because of a Ouija board. Your house is fully haunted beforehand. I've just found Ouija boards to be really annoying, and I don't like them. Personal choice. Oh. But if they're your thing?
Yeah. Like, because I've had some terrifying stories and maybe even share some on their ghost story thing with them. But it wasn't the Ouija board. It was the other stuff that went on around it.
As always, be safe and do your spiritual hygiene, do your cleansings. Everything will be fine.
In preparation for Samhain, part of prep is creating that space. You're creating the sacred space. In creating sacred space, you're setting up a boundary. You only want certain energies to be allowed to flow through the membrane of that boundary. And you only want certain energies to be able to flow out through that membrane of the boundaries. And you want others restricted. Like here, we do not want the bad ancestors to come in. So we make sure that as part of that boundary, they're not allowed through.
And are you going to do a physical boundary?
Yeah.
Now's a good time if you really don't want spirits bother you to hang a horseshoe over your door. Make sure it looks like the letter U when you hang it up. You want it to collect all the bad fortune inside of it, not to pour it out on the door. I see so many people hang horseshoes over their door, but it's upside down.
It's so easy to hang it upside down.
It is. Yeah, don't do that. That's not the way. Try to get an iron one. It'll help you out even more if it is iron, but as long as it's steel, it has iron in it and will still work. I believe it's a good idea to leave a trick-or-treat bowl out for the good neighbors. We will very often put some treats that we know that they like, some buttered bread, some nuts and stuff, and leave it outside where the neighborhood kids won't find it, in a place where the Fae are allowed to visit, and let them have at it as a thank you to being in the area. And on the note of the good neighbors, the other crowd are always around us, but they are particularly active around Yeltana and Samhain. Now, people like to talk about the good Fae and the bad Fae, and if you're talking about from the Scottish tradition, you're talking about the Seelie and the Unseelie court. I think the easiest way to understand the Fae, to understand the other crowd, is one, never call them fairies to their face. They don't like it. Number two, there's pretty much the trooped and the untrooped fairies. Those that hang out with others, and those that have been kicked out because they know what they did. They're not necessarily evil, but they're definitely mischievous. You know, that one kid you went to high school with that was always pulling pranks that nobody hung out with because they were just obnoxious? Yeah, think that kind of spirit.
Because oftentimes they don't understand boundaries or this pike went too far.
So be mindful of what you're allowing out, because everything is going to be a bit more active this time of year. So figure out what scrying you want to do, what offerings you want to leave.
Also, when you're putting down boundaries and you're working with salt, because a lot of people, it's very traditional to use salt, be mindful too, because you got to remember that salt is a physical object that's going to remain in the physical environment.
Yes.
You have just salted the ground.
Yes.
So that is something that is going to have a much more longer lasting impact than just that night or the next few days. So even when it rains, you've added salt to your environment.
It will eventually wash through. Yeah. What Bright is referring to is we have a friend who wanted to really protect their house and really salted outside of all their doors, and then wondered why everything died in their yard.
Yeah.
And we had to explain to them, you salted where we live, there's a lot of clay, so it doesn't go down deep and will eventually run off because there's just a wee little bit of soil on top and then really hard packed clay. It'll eventually wash out. You'll eventually have green things for again, but because that was sorry.
Yeah, I was thinking about, I can't remember how many years ago, someone was talking about some ritual they were going to do, and it was involving multiple pound boxes of salt. I was just thinking, oh my gosh, you're going to screw up your whole yard.
Yeah.
Like, I understand that I think they were planning on doing something. They were very concerned about making sure they didn't have problems. They wanted to have a solid boundary, and they were concerned that boundary was going to get broken. I was like, this is more of a physical reminder of the boundary. If you're that concerned, like, just don't do the ritual. If
Use
you're
a
that
chalk
concerned,
powder.
use a chalk powder.
The nature of your yard and the grasses that you have, Epsom salt could actually be used and actually fertilize the
Yeah.
Speaking of which, now let's talk about my favorite thing, foods and potions. Foods, have at your heart. Apples are very traditional this time of year, as of course are pumpkins. We use them for a lot of things. This is the most witchy I get. I use my techno-magical cauldron, also known as a crock pot. Much easier to control the flame, but we have a crock pot. That's what it's used for, is for these kinds of things. It is our cauldron. It keeps everything warm, really nice. You can have brews going in it all day, and you don't have to worry about tending a fire or it going dry. Just check it every now and then, make sure everything's still going good. Highly recommend them. Crock pots are amazing. And we're going to be doing a mulled cider, which I think is a wonderful new base for a magical brew. We've been debating what herbs and spices we want to add this year. Now, on herbs and spices, two things to remember here. We can talk about how, yes, we are going to be putting cinnamon in our mulled cider because, yes, we want to bring prosperity into our lives. And yes, cinnamon is symbolic of prosperity, ... Those are correspondences that people have associated with things. Everyone's correspondences will be different. If you do not find it a prosperous flavor and you hate cinnamon, you do not have to eat cinnamon things. You do not have to drink cinnamon things. You don't have to smell cinnamon things. It's a correspondence. It's not a law of nature that cinnamon brings prosperity. Remember, these kinds of brews, we're wanting to drink thought. We're wanting to bring this into ourselves and into our lives. So yes, play around with the magical correspondences. We're probably going to add some cardamom and some other things in there. But we're being very careful. Like, will this make the apple cider taste better? Because we're going to drink this. We don't want to waste it. This is also not the kind of libation offering that we're just going to pour out. We are going to pour some out and offer it in glasses to the other crowd and to the spirits and the gods. But we're going to be drinking it too. So don't get locked up in, well, somebody told me that basil or garlic or onions have this particular meaning, because I know somebody who used to put garlic in a lot of things because they heard about these certain magical qualities. That's what he told them that garlic had. And they're like, but it tastes really bad in this, that, and the other thing. You don't have to. These aren't rules. They're correspondences. People have found a connection here. We can utilize that mass connection to make things better. But if to you that connection's not there, don't use it.
Let me walk you through the arcane process for a minute. So you've spent this time, you've gathered the energies, you have gathered the focus, you put it all into this drink. You're going to put all this wonderful energy and focus into yourself. And the minute it hits your taste buds, you go, yuck, I hate this. Guess what you've just done to all those energies? You have corrupted them all. At best, it's going to be nothing. That's it. At worst, you just cursed your thing that you're putting in you that you wanted for good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to be able to enjoy it, or else you're going to be adding other subtle energies to the process.
I think that people do take these too seriously sometimes. And also, make sure what you're adding in is edible. I've seen people be like, mistletoe is very good for healing and all this energy. Mistletoe is poisonous.
Yeah.
And I know somebody's going to, well, actually, in small doses, you can, but yes, the poison is always in the dose. But do you want to risk dying? No, don't do risky things. If you're putting anything, let's say, really magical into your brew, tell people.
Yes.
Because this is the platforms we're on, I don't know if I can be much more specific than that. But, the kind of magic that helps you see the other crowd a little bit easier.
We could phrase it like this. In this state, certain magical natural plants have been decriminalized that can be put into potions that can be imbibed.
Yes.
For recreational reasons or for magical reasons. But you need to tell people.
Yes. Do not sneak any magical experiences onto people that they are not willing or wanting to partake in.
Well, to make the fun reference, You don't want somebody riding the witch's broom if they didn't mean to be riding the witch's broom.
A note on flying incenses, because flying incenses are very popular this time of year, and are often sold as flying incense because you throw them into the fire, you light them, and yes, you will have a feeling of euphoria take over you. Please only use these in a well-ventilated area. They very often will have, belladonna in them. They are mildly toxic, which is why you feel so good when they come in, because a lot of things that are harmful to us also make us feel a bit giddy. I will admit to having been at many a Samhain and many of Beltane that flying incenses were added to the fires with the full knowledge of everyone there that this is the bonfire where you can fly, and this is the non-flying. This is the seated bonfire, I believe is how we always worded it. So you could decide which one you wanted to be at, but it's going to be in the air, so everybody's going to be a little bit exposed.
But it was also outside.
It was outside, well ventilated. Do not hurt yourself. Again, the poison is in the dose, and most of the manufacturers of these are very careful to not make a leaf in the entire stick. But then there are people that will burn like 20 sticks.
Yeah.
And just be mindful.
Don't hotbox your flying incense. Do not.
There are better ways to achieve those experiences that are safer. And I think that's all that I could say about that without being taken down from some of the platforms that we're on. Just be mindful that flying incenses, yes, can help you to do your visionary work a bit easier. And yes, they are legal, I believe, in most places, but well-ventilated spaces, and don't hurt yourself. And that's true with all of the things that you're going to be doing this season. And you need to ask yourself very seriously, what do you want to do? If you have never done a flying incense before, don't do it alone. If you don't know how you're going to react, and even if you have used them before, you don't know how you're going to react this time, don't use things like that alone. It's always good to have somebody with you, either going through the process with you or who is outside of the process that can make sure that everything is going well, depending on especially what fuels you're using to fly on your brooms, shall we say.
Especially this time of year, when the veil is thinned.
Yeah.
And one has entered into an alternate state. Even those that aren't as sensitive to seeing things from the other side of the veil, the combination of all those factors does make it a lot easier to have experiences and to see things that have been there the whole time that suddenly you can see. And it can be a shocking experience having a buddy to help the person through the process, especially when it's already in that altered mental state. It could be a lot.
I probably should have started with this, but I am not encouraging anyone to partake in any of these substances. I just know that they are very popular this time of year around any of the major Sabbats. They are not uncommon to see sold in magic shops and to be used or to be at places where they are being burned. Consent is very important. Knowledge is power. You need to know what you are partaking of and do so wisely.
And curiosity is natural.
Yeah.
We're curious creatures. It's the joy of being a person. It's being curious. But be careful with that curiosity.
Be very, very careful.
Yeah, you don't want to run into folly.
It's a time to do a lot of very fun things, to celebrate with our friends, to celebrate with the other crowd, to celebrate with our families, both on this side and the other side of the veil. And so there's a lot of prep. We're towards the end of the episode, and we haven't even gotten into foods and stuff. So yeah, there's a lot. Are you ready for Samhain?
On the food preps, a lot of it is just remembering it's harvest time. It's just a little bit of research. You're looking into what is normally produced in the region that you live in. The whole point is the harvest food for this time of year for your area.
I crave tomatoes. This is the time of year that I want everything to have tomatoes in it, because when I lived on a farm, tomatoes are perishable. And no matter how much we canned, we always had extra tomatoes. So those had to be used up. So everything's getting picked at this time of year because the frosts are coming. So fried green tomatoes were a thing, and all kinds of tomato dishes were.
For me, it's apples. I grew up, parents had 2 giant apple trees in the yard, and they were very obsessed with apple. I don't know, I'd say obsessed. I probably weren't actually obsessed. I don't know, maybe they were obsessed. It was just all apples all the time. Everything was apples. They were starters, they were entrees, they were desserts, they were snacks. There was apple butter, there was apple sauce.
My biggest advice for you on this is Samhain, both Samhain and Yule, think comfort foods.
Yes.
What is going to bring you cozy, comfortable joy? And what will your ancestors love? One of the things I want to try to make sure that we have to put on our ancestor altar and also just to have for the holiday is dried pineapple. Because my grandmother, who I really, really love and hope visits us this year with the ancestors, because I miss her dearly, loved dried pineapple. And I want to make sure that I have some dried pineapple for her both on the altar. And because she always had it, whether she shows up or not, I want to have some just to think about her for the holidays. And those are what you should be thinking about when you're thinking about what do you want for food prep. Be as elaborate as you want to be. If you want to do hamburgers and hot dogs, do hamburgers and hot dogs. You don't have to do anything great and grand. But it should, as best as possible, mean something to you and to those that you're sharing it with. So yeah, are you ready? This is why we did this episode so far out from Samhain this year's, because there's still time to put together those shopping lists and to start gathering up supplies. There may be some scrying implements or other things that you want to craft before the holiday hits. There may be ingredients that are hard to find in your region that you really want to make sure that you have. There's still time to put the orders in and get the stuff that you need.
As they would say in the old days, it's the last bit of time to finish gathering your harvests before Samhain.
If nobody wants the Kalia.
Nope.
Just a fun note on that one. In Ireland, there was a tradition in some regions where the last sheaf of grain that was cut was cursed. And so after you cut it, you would go and you'd put it in your neighbor's field. And you would go out and search the field to make sure nobody put it in yours. And if they did, you'd grab it, you'd put it in somebody else's. And you basically shuffled it around to see who ended up with, who got the bad luck. Passed it around.
It's like hot potato.
There's hot potato with the bad luck. Have fun. That's what all this is about. All right. So thank you for listening. I would love to know, what are you preparing for? Do you have certain scrying things that you're planning on doing? Certain divinations that you're planning on doing? Special meals, offerings, whatever they are, put them down in the comments. I would love to hear from you because it's always wonderful when you see somebody else's tradition. You're like, ooh, I want to try that out. If you've never done Black Mirror scrying, I love it so much. If you're listening to us on YouTube or Spotify, you can leave a comment right there. If you're listening to us anywhere else, they will not let us know, but you leave a comment there, but then take it and go over to creationspaths.com, click on chat. You can leave it there and we will be able to see it and have a conversation with you while you're there. If you have any money that you can pass our way, you can join a membership there, and thank you to everyone who does that. It really does mean the world to us. You can also support us on Ko-fi and Patreon. I am C. Dorson, and that goes to help with everything that I do, including my music and fiction and everything else. Thank you to everybody who does that. It really does mean the world to us, helps us keep food on our table, a roof over our head, and power in the walls where it belongs.
We need to take it out of the walls at certain points to put it into the computer. And the microphone. Head of the microphone, he needs power too.
Oh, my great-grandmother did a doozy on me with electrical power.
Yes, she did.
Anywho, but in fairness to her, when she was a youngin', there wasn't such a thing. Anywho, as always, may the one life rise up in you and help you to prepare for the great festival that is coming, and to bring to mind all the things that you need to get so that you will have them, so that your Samhain will be 3 days of joy, peace, and blessing. Amen.
Amen.